Serena Hayes sat alone at the sidewalk cafe, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, trying to stop them from trembling. Around her, the air shimmered with the late afternoon sun, and laughter floated from nearby tables where couples leaned close, sharing secrets over cups of coffee. She watched them with an ache in her chest that was almost physical, a mix of envy, longing, and exhaustion. At 32, she had finally worked up the courage to try dating again after 2 long years in a wheelchair. 2 years since the car accident that had broken more than bones. 2 years since her fiancé had looked at her hospital bed and said, with false kindness, that he didn't think he could handle being with someone different. That word had echoed in her head for months. Different, broken. Less. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of people who stay when others leave, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Loom. It helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. Serena had spent those years rebuilding herself from the inside out. Endless therapy sessions to teach her body how to live differently, harder sessions with herself to learn how to exist in a world that now saw her as incomplete. She had relearned how to work, laugh, and roll back into life. When she finally decided to try dating again, it had taken everything in her to trust that maybe someone out there could see past the metal frame beneath her. When Daniel from the online dating site seemed kind, funny, and genuinely interested, she'd allowed herself a fragile hope. He knew about her wheelchair. She had told him up front. He'd said it didn't matter. That simple phrase had felt like sunlight. That afternoon she'd arrived early, nervous and excited, her favorite beige dress smoothing against her legs as she adjusted herself at the table. She had done her makeup with care, wanting to feel like herself again. When Daniel appeared across the street, her heart lifted, but she saw it, his face changing the moment his eyes fell on the chair. The slight drop of his smile, the hesitation. He pulled out his phone, typed something quickly, and within seconds her phone buzzed. Sorry, something came up. Can't make it. Good luck. The words were clean, cold, and final. Serena had stared at the message until the screen blurred. Realizing he wasn't late, he had already walked away. Without even a lie told in person, he had decided she wasn't worth showing up for. She ordered tea she didn't want, just to have something to do with her hands. The cup trembled slightly on its saucer as she fought the urge to cry. She told herself she'd drink it, finish with dignity, and leave quietly. But the lump in her throat grew until it hurt. Around her, the world kept moving. Spoons clinking, friends laughing, waiters weaving between tables. Life continued, oblivious to one woman's quiet humiliation. That's when she heard a small voice. A little girl, maybe 3, stood beside her table. Blonde pigtails tied with red ribbons, clutching a stuffed unicorn, staring up with solemn blue eyes. "Hi," the girl said softly. "Why are you sad?" The question struck like an arrow wrapped in innocence. Serena blinked quickly, forcing a smile, brushing away tears. Before she could answer, a man's voice called, "Lily, you can't just run off like that." A tall figure hurried toward them. A man in a gray coat, well-dressed, the kind of polished confidence that comes from years of holding things together. He reached them and exhaled in relief before turning apologetic eyes on Serena. He saw her tear-streaked face, the empty chair opposite her, and something gentle passed over his features. "I'm sorry if she disturbed you," he said. Serena shook her head. She didn't. "She's lovely." The man's daughter, Lily, was still peering at her wheelchair. "Why do you have wheels?" she asked with the blunt honesty of a child. Her father started to hush her, but Serena stopped him with a small laugh. She told the child simply that she'd had an accident, and her legs didn't work like they used to, so the wheels helped her go places. Lily seemed to consider this carefully, then nodded. "Oh, like Daddy's car." Her father, Adrian Blackwood, as he introduced himself, offered to buy new drinks since Lily had interrupted. He went to the counter while the little girl climbed onto the empty chair Daniel had left behind, setting her stuffed unicorn between them. "This is Sparkle," she said. "She makes people happy when they're sad." Something inside Serena cracked then, not in pain but in release. She took the unicorn gently, feeling its soft, worn fabric. Lily smiled with pride and said, "Daddy says being kind is the most important thing." When Adrian returned with coffee and a juice box, he didn't leave. He sat down, unhurried, his expression open. "Lily seems to think you need a friend," he said, "and she's usually right." Serena expected pity, but what she saw was warmth. He spoke with calm ease, asking about her work when she mentioned she was a freelance designer. He listened, really listened, in a way she hadn't experienced in a long time. As they talked, Adrian admitted he'd seen what happened earlier, how Daniel had spotted her and walked away. His voice carried quiet anger, not for himself but for her. He said he'd wanted to chase the man down, but then realized Lily had already chosen a better way, to show kindness instead of bitterness. That kindness became their bridge. Serena found herself smiling again before she realized it. They spoke for nearly an hour, while Lily colored on napkins the waiter provided. It was so effortless, so human. When Lily grew sleepy, Adrian stood to leave. He hesitated a moment, then asked if Serena might like to meet again for coffee, intentionally this time, not by chance. She hesitated only long enough to catch the sincerity in his eyes. "I'd like that," she said quietly. Over the next few months, coffee became dinner, and dinner became weekends together. What started as gratitude grew into something steadier: connection, laughter, belonging. Adrian never treated her wheelchair as a complication or a limitation. It was simply part of the world they shared. He made space for it naturally, folding ramps and extra time into their plans without ceremony. When they went to the park, he walked beside her chair, matching her pace, as if it had always been the rhythm of his life. Lily loved her instantly, and Serena found herself falling in love with both of them in ways she hadn't thought possible again. Lily would chatter as they colored together. One day, with all the seriousness of a child announcing a discovery, she said, "You're different from the other ladies Daddy meets. You like me even when he's not here." The words went straight to Serena's heart. She realized how much this little girl had learned already about sincerity, how many women had smiled politely while secretly wishing the child away. Serena leaned over and told her gently that she liked her very much, because she was kind and funny and smart. Lily grinned. "I asked the universe for a mommy who'd really love me," she whispered. "Then I found you sitting sad at the cafe. Maybe the universe sent you for both of us." When Serena told Adrian about that conversation later, his expression softened. They were sitting on his couch, Lily asleep upstairs. The television hummed quietly in the background. Forgotten. Adrian reached for her hand and said that maybe Lily was right. He confessed how lonely the past years had been since his wife died. How many dates had turned awkward once women realized that parenting wasn't just cute photos, but real work. He told her he admired how she never pretended, how she met life head-on with grace and honesty. Serena felt tears slip down her cheeks again, but this time they were the kind that warmed instead of burned. Their love didn't arrive with fireworks, but with consistency. The small, steady moments that built trust. Adrian would bring her favorite pastries when she worked late on design projects. Serena helped Lily with her art, teaching her to blend colors and draw clouds that looked soft enough to touch. The three of them built rituals. Movie nights with popcorn, quiet mornings at the cafe where they'd first met, walks by the river where Lily would race ahead shouting, "Hurry up, wheels!" and Serena would laugh until she cried. Months later, on an evening washed in golden light, Adrian told Serena he loved her. It wasn't a grand declaration, but a quiet truth. He said he loved her not despite the chair or her scars, but because she was real, resilient, creative, patient, and unpretending. He said she made him believe in grace again. She told him she loved him too, for his tenderness, for seeing her as whole when the world didn't. When he asked her to marry him, it wasn't planned. They were sitting together after dinner, Lily asleep upstairs with Sparkle tucked beside her. Adrian simply looked at Serena and said he couldn't imagine life without her. "Marry us," he said softly. "Let me prove every day that real love sees the person, not the circumstance." Serena said yes through happy tears. The wedding was small and filled with laughter. Lily served as flower girl, tossing petals with the solemn concentration of a professional. Sparkle the unicorn tucked proudly in her basket. At one point, when the officiant asked if anyone objected, Lily stood up and said, "I object to anyone being mean to my mama ever again." And everyone laughed through tears. Adrian's vows made everyone cry. He said a foolish man once saw Serena's wheelchair and walked away from the most extraordinary woman he would never know. And that loss had given Adrian the greatest gift, her. Serena's vows were simple. She said she had been left alone at a cafe, feeling invisible, until a little girl with a magic unicorn and her kind father sat down beside her and reminded her that she was still worth loving. They built a home that wasn't perfect but was full of care. Adrian's life slowed down from boardrooms and schedules to bedtime stories and weekend pancakes. Serena filled the walls with her art and the sound of laughter. Lily grew, confident and kind, always reminding everyone around her that kindness was magic because it had once changed her life too. Sometimes, when Serena wheeled down the same street where the cafe still stood, she would pause outside the window. The tables were the same. The scent of coffee drifted into the air. And she would think of that day when rejection tried to break her but love found her instead, disguised as a child with red ribbons and a unicorn. The world would always have Daniels, people who looked and walked away, but it would also have Lilies, who ran towards sadness with open arms, and Adrians, who stayed when they didn't have to. Serena had learned that we can't always control who leaves, but we can choose to be the kind of person who stays, who looks past the surface and sees another human being deserving of dignity and warmth. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Loom. Every click helps us tell more true-to-life stories that remind the world why compassion still matters. Before you go, tell us in the comments about someone who stayed when others left. Your words might be the reason someone keeps believing in love, hope, or second chances. Serena Hayes would never wish to be stood up again, but she would always be grateful for what followed. The moment when life, in all its quiet wisdom, traded heartbreak for connection, and showed her that even from the cruelest rejection, something beautiful can begin.